What's up, gang? In today's video I'm gonna show you and walk you through our sample pack Hardware Kickdrums Volume 1. So from the name you can already guess that we've used plenty of hardware instruments to make those samples. And yeah, first let's have a look around, and then we're actually going to build something like a couple of kick drum rumbles that we use and like in techno music so much. So as you can already see, we have a bunch of folders here. That's the sample pack, and ignore the other stuff around here. So we have, of course, the Moog DFAM. We have the Nord drum, which is the Nord drum 1. We have the Electron SYNTAKT Roland TR8S, amazing drum machine, and the Joe Mox X-Bass 888, which sadly I sold, which is kind of stupid, but well, you know, sometimes you sell things and then regret it. But luckily I've sampled a shit ton of kick drums and other good things, so we can use that. And of course the sample pack contains other things that you may want to use and that I've always found useful and find useful. We have some Atmo tracks, we have a couple of drum loops, and then we have a little bit of processed material. So while most of the samples and kick drums that you find in here from the DFAM, Nord drum, and so on are pretty raw. Of course, I couldn't help it but process and do a little bit of fun things with these samples to, you know, have a better starting point for whatever you want to do. We also have something that's called Reverbed, which is just kick drums drowned in reverb. Well, yeah, I know you're not supposed to do it, but man, it just sounds so great. And we'll check out a couple of these, of course. Then we have Rumble kicks, heavily processed kick drums, ready for your techno bangers. A couple synth lines, of course. Warehouse kick drums. So warehouse, when I say warehouse techno, I mean this raw and rough techno genre that was kind of famous in the good old days, you know, where people got into abandoned warehouses, made huge techno parties, and yeah. Alright, so let's check out some of the kick drums. Let's start with the DFAM, which is a analog kick drum. So we have some basic things, but, and you can already hear it here, the DFAM can do fun FM things. So we have longer kicks and some really nasty things. And of course I couldn't help but run the DFAM through Reverb. Whew, huge. That's why I love putting reverb on kick drums. Okay. Minimal kicks is more processed stuff. Okay, let's check out some of the Nord drum kicks, and I believe, no, actually do know, we have quite a bit, and of course also some kick drums with further processing. I mean, come on, this, let me show you how this thing looks. Little dusty old fella, but this little box, this little red box, does kicks like this. Amazing. They're hard to find, and I'm lucky I got it. And you'll be lucky too, because you get the samples from it. Alright, next up is the SYNTAKT, which has digital and analog kick drum engines. As you can see here by the naming, you get both. That's straight from the SYNTAKT. Such a great machine. TR8S, which is probably the most versatile because it has all the classic kick drums, from the TR909, 808 and what have you in it. But also you get really fun FM engines which make also soft kick drums. And while you may find a couple of those usual suspects, as I mentioned, the TRX, TR909, TR808 kick drums, I'm pretty sure you have shit tons of those samples on your hard drive. And yeah, I wanted to give you a little different approach to things, a little different palette than the usual suspects. Okay, next up is the X-Bass 888 by Jomox, which is a beast. The thing sounds so heavy, probably has the most low end from all the samples. And I hope you have headphones on or listen to this video on good speakers. Come on. A lot of good stuff in there. Okay, let's check out some of the additional things that we have in here. Let's start with the Reverbed Kickdrums. Which sounds more like FX, but pretty sure. Really cool. Rumble kicks. Really cool stuff. Tech kicks. They're a little bit pointier and with less grit in the mid. So if you're more into melodic techno, you know, so if you're more into melodic techno and don't need so much things in the mid-range and a little bit of a cleaner sound, these are the kicks, which are comparable to the minimal kicks. Alright, then we have the Warehouse Kickdrums. A lot of noise, and I tried to make them sound like they've been sampled way too many times. Really cool stuff in there. Okay, now for the Atmos. Spooky. Okay, and a couple drum loops. Really cool stuff. Okay, so what shall we do? Let's maybe start with a basic kick drum and rumble combo for your next techno banger. So I have the sampler here, the Impact XT, which is a stock plugin from Persona Studio One. And I think I want to start with a kick drum from the TR8X. All right, this sounds great. Phew, a lot of low end. Okay, And while it has something going on here in the back, I actually just want to have the front part of this. Okay, next is something, let's use the X bass to create this rumbling sound in techno music. Okay, some tuning here. Bro. Done. All right, no, okay. Of course, we're not done. Let's create a bus channel. Call it kick sum. So there's, and route both the kick drum and the rumble to the kick sum. Now let's first start with some saturation, and I actually like this BB tubes from Waves a lot. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, not bad. Let's try another one. Let's try the MS-20 filter from Arturia, which was free for some time. Okay, starting from the default, let's add some of the remember the good old gain staging. And if you're like me, you make yourself a couple presets, and in this case this sounds phenomenal already. Okay, let's so when you're mixing your kick and your bass, it's always important, or at least I find it to be very useful, to get rid of the super low frequencies, which you can't hear them anyways. Even big speaker systems can't reproduce most frequencies below 40 Hertz. Still, this sonic content is going to affect whatever you have in your chain. In this example, I have this distortion and I have a compressor. If I have a lot of low end, which I can't hear, it's still going to affect how these effects behave. So I usually tend to clean up at least at 30 Hertz, and listen closely. There's the change in sound, and which means that it has taken effect and that we were doing something good. Okay, next. So there's some mud in the middle, as usually with those kick drums. So 220 Hertz is one of the usual suspects. That's usually where the mud is. Now listen again. So just getting rid of a little bit. So now the rumble, of course, comes through even stronger. And again here, getting rid of the low end of the top. And let's see what else we have here. Okay. So just cleaning up things a little bit. And the good thing now is we can add more drive. Let's try this out. Okay. I'm not sure about you, but I really like this. Now, let's add one of the drum loops that we have in here. Oh, this one sounds cool, really. Okay, let's check this out. Okay. Not too bad. But the point was actually to show you what you can do with the kick drums, and this is probably the easiest technique to make a kick drum rumble. It's also a very clean way because you don't have to deal with all the things that delays and reverbs bring you, like phase issues and yeah, there's usually, especially with delays, there's all this rumbling going on in the background, and if you don't resample or render it or freeze it, whatever you want to call it, things just get messy. And if you simply place a fun little kick drum, which, as you can see, let's go through this again because I probably forgot to talk about this. I've changed the starting point from to get beyond the click, which you can see here. Let's see, this is the click, and added some envelope, some attack in the beginning to smooth it out even more. And I've reduced the tuning to bring it more in tune, haha, no pun intended, to bring it more in tune to make it better fit our kick drum. I think, okay, let me try something real quick. Let's add, no, there it is. Let's add this little fella here instead of the MS-20. Okay, so while I like this kick drum for its basic tone, I need something with a bit more punch. Let's try this one. Too much. Okay, let's see how this goes. So I've routed this sample to the same MIDI note, so don't want to make it. Oh, Sounding good. Sounding good. And okay, so this would be our Rumble number 1. Gonna save this stuff. Always save your shit. Nothing worse than losing all your precious work. Oh, this might work better. Let's try this synth line. Whew. Bro. All right, let's get rid of some of the low end here. As you can see, yeah. Clean this up. And sometimes you just have to use a second EQ to clean things up. And yeah, you know, mixing is a lot about choices, and listen to the change. You can make a dip. So okay, let's dial back a little bit. And so I was thinking the kick drum and all sounded great, but you always need to make a little bit of room for other stuff, especially when you apply distortion, saturation. You're always adding to the sound not only the good things that you want to have, like maybe a little bit of fuzz or maybe just some warmth. You also add things that you don't want necessarily. And I was just thinking, man, where do I make a little bit of room for other instruments? And the thing is, you can really shape the sound. So getting rid of some of this mud down here. Or if I go up here, I'm taking away some of the characteristics. Or maybe both, or maybe doing even more low cutting with a really steep curve. I think sometimes I really like the low end. The low end is really great. On the high, this. Okay, so just making some room. Should be good enough for now. Now let's what shall we do now? Maybe hitting save, which I probably already did. Next thing we can do is create another rumble. This time we're using a different technique. And let me go over here. And you know what? No, I gotta use a new sampler, because otherwise I would have So let's add a new sampler and do something similar to this one. Forgive me for not naming stuff. So mix tool, compression, which are my go-to plugins, and let's try something. Okay, let's do something like this. Again, shorten. Maybe this one. Okay. Oh. You know what? We're gonna use this one for our rumble. And a cleaner kick drum. And a cleaner kick drum for the rumble. This time I'm going to create it using the classic technique where you're having a kick drum like this. Add some delay. Different channel. All right, here we go. And reverb. So okay, gonna mute this and gonna mute this and just export the stems from this one. Let's call this Rumble, and then I'm going to export the stems just from Rumble, and I want to add it to the lane, no real-time processing, looped area. There we go. And now we can move this away and just take this and have a listen. But before we listen, game stage. Okay, get rid of this. So here we have it. And all we actually need is some segment from the center. Actually, all we need, basically, is just find a nice okay, alright, we found something. And let's create another bus channel, call this Kickdrum 2. Filter. Now let's send this to Kickdrum 2. Let's add some saturation, maybe some tape saturation this time. Sorry, wrong direction. I think -2 was good. Okay, cool. MDMX, let's try something different. Sounds a bit lame. Really cool. All right, so let's check out what we have inside the pack. So we have a total of 302 files. So you have 38 bonuses, and a total of 264 Kickdrum one-shot samples. How great is that? Yeah, so thank you for joining me in this video showcasing my sample pack Hardware Kickdrums Volume 1. I hope you found the techniques for creating those deep techno kick drum rumbles both inspiring and easy to follow. If you enjoyed the sound and the workflow demonstrated, don't forget to check out the sample pack linked below. It's packed with high quality kick drum samples that are perfect for any techno production. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials and tips on music production. Your support helps me create more content like this. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below with your feedback or any questions that you have about the sample pack or the techniques that we've covered today. Stay tuned for more videos and happy producing. See you soon.